Lund as Johnny Dollar.
Get dressed, Johnny. How fast can you get to the airport?
Well, 30 minutes if I finish breakfast and 10 if I don't.
They'll give you something to eat on the plane.
Where am I going?
South Bend, Indiana. Washington Research Hospital. They were robbed last night. $150 worth of gold.
You're pretty excited about a claim that size, aren't you?
We were right to be. The gold is what they call an isotope, used for experimental purposes. Highly radioactive. Whoever stole it is carrying potential death around with him.
Well, I guess the airline's coffee is better than mine anyway. I'll see you, Ed.
He told me, so I bought this stuff.
Where is it, Parker?
It's back there. It's laying on the counter in the back there. Don't ask me to take you over there. I'm not getting within 15 feet of that stuff. 3 troy ounces of atom bomb. I wouldn't get within 15 feet of that.
Let's take a look, Lieutenant, That's gold leaf, all right. Clean, too. It wasn't scraped off any store window. How do you bring it in, Parker? A glass jar?
But he had the stuff in an envelope, a paper envelope. I've got the whole store full of that atom stuff. Now my counter, the scale. Get it out of here. Get it.
I've got a lead box in the car's outlet. We'll put it in there and have a hospital check. Yeah, okay, Lieutenant. Mr. Parker, you got a record of the man who brought the gold in?
Well, yeah, sure I got it. It's right here in my book. Wait a minute. Let's see. Yes, here it is. John Jones, 625. Flournoy, Street.
John Jones, huh?
So that's the name he gave me. What am I going to do, call a man a liar to his face? Say, listen, mister, that gold, what do you think it's that atom stuff?
We'll find that out at the hospital.
Yeah, will you let me know, won't you? It's got me plenty worried. Maybe I'm dying from it right now.
Well, why don't you come with us and let them check you over?
Now, how am I going to do that? 3 hours to closing yet. Customers will come in here. After all, a fellow's got to make a buck, you know.